legislature legalized unverifiable voting in 2000.
Like you said, to Trump, but they're getting beauty.
They said, go out there and rob these houses and bring back the bounty, and then that'll pay your way.
Because Republicans who get endorsement from Georgia carry that they mean anything.
You can't sit on the sidelines any longer. You must get involved in the game. This is your sign.
All of us coming back. I cannot accept this fade to black, and the thought of the wasted dreams of a nation down on its knees is already over. Tickets to the circus show. If you don't, then you'll never know. Take a stand while you have the time. Drown your fear and keep hope alive. Be the change that you want to see. Be the wrench inside the machine. Is it already over? Is it already over? I don't think it's over.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this Wednesday night live stream. This is our regular show, Wednesday night. Running just a little bit behind. As you can see, I have the call-in number up because we're going to make it a call-in show. We were originally going to have David Clark on here tonight. He had reached out about coming on to the show, and he said there was a family emergency, and he had to reschedule. So we will look at rescheduling that for you as we get more candidates that are reaching out and wanting to be platformed on Small Town Underground as well as others, because they are finally wanting to get their voices out to the people. That's what this is all about. Getting your voice out to the people. No longer business as usual. We want to know what you're all about. We want to educate ourselves and what everyone is about. And just want to bring it to the masses, right? We want to make informed decisions. We want smart voters. We want people who are paying attention. We don't want people who are not in the know and just go and vote because somebody tells them to or tells them who to vote for. So I'm running a little bit behind with sharing the show out tonight. So guys, feel free to help me share the show out as I'm fixing to post to a few more groups. This is a call-in show tonight. I had a lot of different ideas about what I wanted to do tonight, and I don't know. I'm in a funk, man. I'm in a funk, and I'll explain it. Let me just do this real quick. I think a lot of us are just in a funk. We're all just kind of overwhelmed with everything that's going on around us. It's like we just can't catch a break, you know. I know up here in District 14, we have this jungle primary that's just continues to go, and you know, it gets hard to figure out whether you're coming or whether you're going. And a lot of information is coming at us at breakneck speed, and it's just the way it is. So hang on one second, folks. Now, hopefully we'll get some good calls in tonight. Of course, we're going to be doing your comments. I think that's enough shares. Again, share the show, like, subscribe, donate, whatever you want to do. I just want to preface this. This is not a dunking show or anything like that. I'm not dunking on anybody, but I got to go back a little bit to 2023 when Donald Trump was nearly assassinated. And even in 2023, it was hard to even use that word, say it. And I don't pay attention to all the code words that I probably should. I'm sure that some of my stuff gets, ghosted a little bit for because I don't really censor the words like I guess I should. But I go back to, that was that was a turning point, that inflection point of 2023, when Donald Trump was shot in the ear, nearly shot to death, in Butler, Pennsylvania. And that inflection point from that moment in time where there was no question that Donald Trump was going to be the next president of the United States of America. All the different factions, I remember the people that were talking about Ron DeSantis and saying, "Oh, DeSantis," you've got the never Trumpers, and you've got this happy little, cozy establishment group of people, and not all of them, I mean, an establishment in that negative way, but just people that don't want to be bothered by any of this. They'd rather just go back to normal life, and what is normal anymore? But that's when everybody said, in the Republican Party and the deep state, the globalists and the establishment, everybody said, okay, that's it. And from that moment on, even you had people like Mark Zuckerberg coming out and couldn't believe what he had saw. Couldn't believe the craziness of all that. And that was a scary time, but also an exciting time. We went into the end of that year with one of the greatest races I'd ever seen. You got to remember, Kamala Harris spent $2 billion, I think. Or was it $1 billion and then $20 million in debt over that? Can you imagine that kind of money that was just spent on campaigning and cackling Kamala? Could have been the president, as well as Tampon Tim. Could have been the president and the vice president of the United States. So obviously we dodged quite a bullet there. With the greatest president of my lifetime, whom I voted for that third time, and who I would have wrote in had he not been on the ballot, if we go back in memory lane and realize they were trying to remove him from the ballot. And so we started 2024 with a bang. We were like, man, I mean, I said 2023, I meant 2024, guys. We started 2025 with a real bang. We were energized and ready, and had the momentum, and we had the dream team. The dream team of players there. We were so excited about Patel, Bongino. People were talking about Scam Bondi from the beginning. They were like, ugh, because thank God we had X, right? Which is probably the only really free speech platform that we have right now, thank God. After the Twitter files, if you ever followed that was insane. But so we were all energized. This is it. This is our meal ticket. This is finally the time that we get rid of all of the BS, and we fix things, right? Because what are we? We just want things fixed. We don't have our hands out. I'm not looking for the keys to your yacht club. I just want it fixed. I want things to be right. And so we said, here's the golden age. And immediately out the gate, everybody was energized against these rhino establishment Republican neocons that were trying to block everything. We were yelling and screaming about John Thune. We were cautious about every pick that was being made, researching and doing all these things. And so once it was laid out, it was like, okay, man, here we go. It's time for the golden age. It's time for the golden age. And we kept going and going. And it's like, okay, it's time for some arrests. We know these people. We hear the revelations. We hear you, Tulsi Gabbard. We hear you, Pam Bondi. We hear you, Donald Trump, and all of your tweets. The information starts to drop, and well, let's arrest somebody. Let's not for the sake of arresting somebody. Let's get these people where they need to be, right? And we keep going, and we keep going, and nobody is arrested. And it's what's going on? And we start a legislative session, and we're not seeing any bills move, and we're dealing with omnibus bills, and we're dealing with all this AI stuff, and it's like, what is going on here? Like, how can all this be? And this is on the national level, right? Not even mentioning what we went through last year at the Capitol, Colton Moore, and the horrible legislative session. But as we progress on into the summer, and we realize that the Epstein list has become like this sore thumb, where it's like, all of a sudden, it's like, are we still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? And I'm like, yeah, we've been talking about Jeffrey Epstein, those of us in the trenches, for like a decade or more. And very important to us. It was one of your campaign promises. And a lot of folks just don't even understand that. Why? Because with all kinds of fifth generational warfare going on behind the scenes, and they're always trying to divide us. And so they've got the news media, and the news media starts running with this narrative of Trump. It's all about Trump. And the Epstein list has never, ever been about Trump. Ever. Don't insult my intelligence. And so we start seeing cracks. We start seeing for the first time a weak Donald Trump, right? And that's on one side of it. Then the other side of this equation is that we start to kind of, the door opens, and we start seeing about our global entities and our foreign interests that are involved in our government, and all of these conspiracy theories and all these hush-hush things that you can't talk about. All of a sudden, we're seeing them for the first time. And then people are starting to be able to connect the dots and say, well, why are we going over here to do this to this country? And then you go back, and you got to look at history. You got to be honest with yourself and look back at these multi-pronged wars that we've been involved in the Middle East, where we've systematically tried to democratize every government and failed horribly at it. There was a time where North Korea was pitched as the most evil country in the entire world, and they were and you don't even hear. Nobody even talks about North Korea anymore. Nobody even mentions North Korea anymore. So we started to see that this globalization of our planet and our governments, right, in lockstep with what I call the global government, the one world government, the thing that's been pushed in all these high-fluting circles for so long. But you start to see that kind of is very broadly in our own government. It's undeniable. Yet, if you discuss it, or if you talk about it, or if you even ask a question, you automatically get put in the corner. But I mean, this stuff is just the truth. It doesn't mean that everything is evil. It just means that these are the darkness coming to light, where you start to question, like, who's really in charge? Who's running the show here? Why are we doing these things? Why aren't we focusing on these America First sort of principles? And at the same time, Marjorie Taylor Greene, the whole fallout with Thomas Massie, the complete switcheroo with Lindsey Graham. I mean, I know Democrats don't even like Lindsey Graham. I can't find a Republican that likes Lindsey Graham. But I mean, all of this stuff, you have to kind of, if you're paying attention and you're being honest with yourself, you just kind of have to just take yourself back a little bit and be like, whoa, what is going on here? All right. And that's an uncomfortable question, because we fought so hard for Donald Trump to be here and still the greatest president in my life. I would vote for him tomorrow. But all of these weird psychological divisions start happening all over the place, right? Republicans attacking Republicans, and everybody. Oh, you're a grifter. Oh, you're this. Yeah. And you notice on this show, we try to stay out of all the drama as much as possible because there's no point in it. You know, there's no point in getting into it. If we want to have a frank discussion tonight about Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk and all that, I'll be happy to. But there's no point in me trying to be some authoritative figure on any of this stuff. I just watch it like everybody else and make my own decisions. But I live by the motto, question everything. You always question everything. You should always be questioning me, right? What are my motives questioning me? But it feels like that it's taken a turn for, I wouldn't say the worst, but it's taken a huge turn, an undeniable turn as we went into the end of this year with the Epstein files and clear hit list of different people. And then you have this huge upset in District 14 with Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning her position. And now here we are. And we're into 2026 with what I would say probably the middle of the Epstein, release. We haven't even seen the worst of it yet. And things are super freaking weird, right? And I know I'm not alone. And I know some of you guys out there don't want to talk about this, and that's fine. Switch it off. Don't listen to it. But I've had too many people that have told me in confidence, it's like, I don't know what is up or down anymore. I don't know what's going on. And then there's also too many people that will just blindly follow anything, according to whose mouth it comes out of. And that's something I've never been able to do. I've never followed blindly, and I can't do it. So, the truth hurts sometimes. And so I sit here tonight in this funk because I don't know where we're at, but it's already February. It's already February of 2026. And we didn't catch a break last year, and we dang sure aren't catching a break this year. And January flew by, but it felt like a year, all right? And so we've got a lot of things that have come out. And I'm just going to tell you, man, look, we've got a tough election process coming up in Georgia because there's so many things going on right now. So many seats up for grabs, these jungle primaries. And let me just talk about the jungle primaries for a minute. BKP laid it out a few weeks ago on the show. And I went back and I did the research on it because I wanted to see how true it is. But back in 2017, Ralston, the one we all can't stand, Speaker of the House. Well, they actually brought up a bill in 2017, I believe, was the year they brought it up. And some good patriots tried to bring up this bill to do away with jungle primaries. Because the problem with jungle primaries is, well, we've got two problems. Jungle primaries, but we have open primaries in Georgia. Now, why on earth would you have open primaries in Georgia? Why would you have jungle primaries, right? Because it always seems to benefit the Democrats. Always. And that's not good, when you're dealing with Republicans in name only, like we know now, beyond a shadow of a doubt. But why? Why would you not protect your party vote with closed primaries where only those people vote? I don't want to be in an open primary and go for a weak Republican because it's not right. To me, that's not moralistic. I'm all for, doing the right thing and voting the right way. It's the same thing. It's the same thing as these idiots, these stupid idiots who pay these kids to go and trash other people's signs. I've never taken up anybody's political sign, ever. And believe me, those stupid Republicans for Sean Harris signs, I would love to just, I just love to just destroy them. But I can't do it. I can't do it. I think it's stupid. I think Sean Harris and his crew should be completely ashamed of themselves for putting something stupid like that because it's misleading. It's unethical. But they did it the last time around too. But that's desperation. Sean Harris he claims the Democrat Party. There's already something wrong with this guy, right? Because say what you will about the Republican Party, but my God, the Democrat Party, they literally are the party of pedophiles and demonic stuff, right? Sorry, but your party is super dirty. But again, it's the same thing with, that's the way I look at voting. So I wouldn't pull up their yard signs. I want to beat them the right way. I want to beat them with education. I want to beat them with the culture and the discussion, right? What are we focusing on? And open primaries, they do the exact opposite of that. And jungle primaries are even worse. But again, 2017, there was a bill that came up in the Georgia legislature during the big Republican supermajority in this state. And guess what? Your Fuhrer Governor Brian Kemp vetoed that bill all the way back in 2017. It's 2026 now. And we could have been done with this mess. And now we have this Republican outrage. We need to do away with jungle primaries. It's like a big game. It's like a big game. And like, can nothing ever be done right? Can we just get one solid win? Because again, we're sitting here in February and we have no arrest whatsoever and none on the horizon. And if you look at, let's go back to James Comey, right? The first indictment. And what happened to James Comey? James Comey got off on a technicality. Okay? You look at the Fulton County election case. A judge ruled that the case was filed in the wrong county. Okay? I mean, like, how are we getting it so wrong? How can we get it so wrong on nearly everything we do, right? How come everything that a Republican tries to do or Donald Trump tries to do, there's always a technicality or there's always a judge blocking it? But when the Democrats do it, well, we're going to charge him with 139 felonies and we're just going to throw, admittedly on the news, they're going to throw whatever they want at the wall just to see what it sticks. And it just goes through with flying colors. You see? And too many people have come up to me, and said, man, I don't want to say this out loud, but I don't know. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what's going on. And you know what? I'll say it publicly because it's a funk and we're all in it. And I don't know how to get out of it. And I say what you will. All right. I'm not here to bash Donald Trump. Okay. I'm not here to, I don't even care about the sides. And I told you guys 3 years ago, I was like, I never wanted to be under a MAGA moniker anyway, right? Because it's always about America doing the right thing. But if Lindsey Graham is now the new poster child for MAGA, I don't want nothing to do with that, right? If that's what we're replacing the MAGA movement with, like Lindsey Graham and Mark Levin, well, I didn't sign on for that. And I know a lot of people didn't sign on for that. So that's disturbing to me. It's disturbing to me that Benjamin Netanyahu, who is really, really adamant about destroying a country in Iran that has nothing to do with my light bill, my grocery bill, my gas bill, but he's going to be at the White House again for the 6th time, more than any other person in, I guess, the history. Or I don't know. Maybe Jeffrey Epstein might have been there more under Bill Clinton. But I look at these things and I'm like, but this is the forbidden stuff. If you say this, you talk about it. Oh no, you are racist. You are anti whatever, and that's the stupidest thing in the world. And we just don't allow that kind of moronic thinking on this show. But again, you have to kind of admit to yourself, there's a lot of things going on, and something doesn't smell right in Denmark. Okay, and I don't know why that we've labeled people like Massie like the worst people in the world whenever I try to make sense of this, right? I'm like, yeah, Massie votes no a lot of the time. And I'm not here to defend Massie either, but how has he become the enemy numero uno enough to spend, $200 million on getting out, even though he's got a 91% voting record? All right, and I get it, boy. You can't say anything. Massie's horrible, right? But how on earth are we singling this man out whenever last week I covered with you guys that nearly every single bill that was being passed, all right, was pretty much a Democrat bill, and there was 70 to 80 of our Republicans in our own damn Congress that were voting with the Democrats. And that got crickets. Nobody's outraged because of that. If Kamala Harris had won the presidency and she had all of those bigwig techs up there in the White House with us, Republicans will be screaming, beating the tables, talking about all the conspiracy stuff that I talk about, oh, New World Order. But because it was under Trump, it's okay. I don't understand that. I don't even understand loyalty to that degree, right? Because there's a lot of people that don't like each other in this little group of Republican, They don't like each other, blah, yada, yada. And so, you put your emotions on your sleeve, and we all have them. I have my little list. But I'm always willing to talk. And the reason why that I can float through a lot of this stuff is because A, I don't do drama. B, I don't work in the shadows. And C, all I really care about is focusing on how to move forward, how to make things right. That's it. Because I am specifically not there for the free meal. I'm just there because I want to say, what can I do to make things better, to make things right, to make things less of a country club and more for the people. That's it. And it's easy to work with people whenever that's the only angle you got. Because I don't have to call and try to plot and do all this other stuff. I'll give you a perfect example. Back during the convention last year, the GOP convention, there was a big group of people that wanted paper ballots. And they didn't know how they were going to, move forward with paper ballots. And, we had this idea, said, hey, include everybody. It's not that they were trying to exclude everybody, but I think we were a little scared because of how those people were perceived. They said, no, you make them buy into the process. You show them everything you're doing and show them that there's nothing to fear, nothing to worry about. And they still not only rejected it, but still treated those people like crap. Treated all of us like crap, put us on these enemies list, whatever you want to call it. But there was nothing in the shadows to fear, and that's the way we need to operate. And I've been told from people, oh, sometimes you got to do things right. I'll grant it. Sometimes, especially when you're in the game of politics, you have to do certain things sometimes. Right? We can't all have, we can't all be there 100% like I wish we could. But again, I get it. It's a game. And a lot of people, again, don't understand that it's a game, right? And you got to understand that you enter into this game. You got to know that you're entering into this game and that the game is not rigged for you. It's rigged for them. So, yeah, it's an election year, and we're getting some really cool wins, and we're getting a lot of people reaching out to us and a lot of people wanting to work with us. And I'd say that's a good thing, right? Because it is a game. And it is an election year. And you know what? If we can't get wins any other time, then I guess I'll take what we can get because we've been kicked down for so long. And it leads me back to Donald Trump. Like, at some point, I got really sick and tired of seeing this. Oh, look at all this evidence. We have Russia collusion. It was real. Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, blah, yada, yada, blah, 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 blah. And every single day, it's getting close. It's getting close. Somebody's going down. Somebody's going down. Guess what? Nobody went down. Nobody. Okay? Now, if you think that's bad, I'm saying something bad about Donald Trump, well, guess what? He's the president of the United States. Why have we not got some sort of justice, right? Why? Is it that hard? Is it all made up? I mean, because every day it seems to me like something that I knew of 7 or 8 years ago that was decried as a conspiracy theorist is now a complete fact. And people way, way smarter than me who have been screaming from the rooftop for years about just how corrupt Georgia elections are. Now all of a sudden they're not only vindicated, but we had this wonderful raid at Fulton County. And it was so great, and everybody was excited, and it was like, wow, because why? Because, a few days before that, a federal judge said, hey, Scam Bondi, sorry, but you filed in the wrong county. Now, how does the Department of Justice get it that wrong? I'll never know, right? I just want to know. If I was up there on Capitol Hill, I would say, Pam, can you fire whatever receptionist that filed that in the wrong county? Because that's like one of the stupidest things you could do. You didn't even get it in the right county and allowed a federal judge to rule against it. And so they went in, the FBI, we had Tulsi down there standing proud, and it was wonderful. The SEB meetings have been absolutely wonderful. And we find out a few days after that, well, somehow the election board man, Mr. Pitts, he was tipped off. He was tipped off that they were going to come raid. And then there were supposed to be 700 boxes that Garland Favorito showed us that was under the Preservation Act since, 2021, January 6th. And there's 50 boxes missing. And they don't know where the boxes are at. And I'm just sitting here like, is it me? I'm not trying to look for the sour apple and all of this stuff, but like, we can't get nothing right. Like, what if this is the 50 boxes that we need that's got all the duplicate ballots that Joe Rossi mentioned? And like, so they just took these 50 boxes and what they do? Shred them? What they put them in a different count? I mean, what? It's just, correct me if I'm wrong, but I got too many people coming up to me and saying, man, this sucks. And I have to agree, it does suck. Now, Donald Trump came out, and I love his tweets. He came out about this credit card, 10%, blah, yada. I looked it up. It took me a couple weeks, but I was like, well, the way it sounded like, hey, we're going to get on top of this. That could be some good relief for some people. I don't care what you think about credit card. I think credit card companies are charging outright. When they can send you a bill in the mail that says, hey, if you pay the minimum amount on this card, you'll pay this off in 31 years. I think that's criminal, okay? I understand free market, free enterprise, and I understand that I'm the idiot for using it. But again, I think credit card companies made $200 billion in profit last year. So you're sending me a bill that tells me if I only pay the minimum amount, it takes me 33 years to pay it off. But if I pay $50 more, I'll get it paid off in 3 years. That's, to me, is mind-boggling. But again, you hear Donald Trump say this tweet. It sounds exciting. It sounds great. And then a couple weeks later, you're looking it up and you're like, actually, Congress would have to come up with a bill and he'd have to do this and have to pay, Donald Trump can't do that, But the perception of it is like, hey, Donald Trump's saying this, so we're going to get this done. Well, it's happening more and more and more. And the reason that I'm such in a funk is very simple. Look, the Democrats are poised right now, better than ever, to take these positions because we still have a masterclass of rhinos, Republican in name only, establishment people who do not want to give up their power. They don't. It's all about the power. They wanted to be right. They can't admit to be wrong. They've never focused on the true issues, right? Maybe a few of them every now and then. But they've gotten, they've gotten their place at the table. They don't want to lose it. And so it's a big fight right now, right? Because the grassroots, we came up big. We came up strong. We got some good grassroots people in there. We wanted to make a difference and kept getting shot in the foot, right? But it's a big power struggle right now. And going back to Donald Trump, the deep state, man, don't you think that after he got shot in the ear and almost died, that they didn't wise up to and say, good Lord, this man's going to be our president. It's time to buy the box of chocolates. It's time to tell him how good his hair looks, right? Because we all know that Donald Trump has a vanity issue, right? He wants that respect. He doesn't want you voting no. He wants you to do exactly what he wants you to do. And so, don't you think that the deep state is smart enough to figure that out? Because I'm going to tell you, folks, it goes back to the original. If you go back 3 years, 2 years, transhumanism is a real thing. Artificial intelligence is a real thing. The data centers are a real thing. The one world government is a real thing. And we're really super, super close to a major change. In fact, you don't have to take my word for it, but a few months back, last year, there was a man, and I will say this over and over and over again, and I will find you the video. At a Rotary Club, there was a gentleman that worked for the University of Georgia school system who was going around with a PowerPoint presentation to all these little ne'er-to-do-wells in all these little Rotary clubs, and he was literally on there explaining the importance of data centers, the importance of artificial intelligence, the fact that the Industrial Revolution is ending and artificial intelligence will be the new revolution. And this is a college whatever who is telling all the rich folks, hey guys, this is coming. Now, I don't know about you and me, but for the working class people, when the Industrial Revolution goes away, that means jobs go away. That means livelihoods go away. Okay, nobody talks about that, but that's what they're saying. That's what I played it for you on a show. They're not hiding any of this stuff. Governor Kemp said he wants Georgia to be the number one state of data centers. And what does that mean? That means they're going to roll them up just like bowling pins. They're going to knock them out all over the state, and they're going to put them everywhere that they need to put them, whether you like it or not. And they don't want you to have any say-so in it. And neither does Trump, for that matter, because Trump signed an executive order back in Christmas, a couple of days after our Governor Kemp was there at the White House, that said, hey, guys, we're going to take federal control of these data centers. And we haven't heard another peep, right? We're hearing our Georgia legislature. Some of our Georgia legislatures are listening to us, okay? But is that election year, ramblings, or is there something more to it? We've been somewhat successful in stopping some of these things because the rural counties don't want them, man. We don't want them, and they want to put them in the rural counties because that's where all the resources are. That's where the cheap energy is, and we can build this thing over here, 1.5 million square feet, and we've got a lake right here that runs into the river, and then the river runs into the lake, and it's only going to drain at 10 feet, no big deal, people, And have only started talking about addressing concerns with these things after the people got wise and said, wait a dang minute. So, you can't rely on government or these corporations to do anything if we allow them to just do it. You understand? You have to have skin in the game. You have to be involved in this stuff, or else they're going to run you over. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. Think about this, man. It's the United Corporate States of America. We've turned into a total corporation, all right, where big businesses rule everything, and government subsidies, grants, all this crap, and it's just build, and never pay attention to the consequences. And I don't know how we can still claim that we're like the number one state of agriculture in Georgia, because we're certainly not prioritizing agriculture. To that I can see. But again, all of these things are just bothering me, and I cannot be the only one. So, and this is a call-in show, by the way, if anybody wants to call in. And you can voice your opinion. You can tell me that I'm crazy. Tell me that I'm just completely overblown, and that, Roy, you need to get out of your funk. But that's just how I feel, man. I look, because I did get a little sidetracked. So this is what I'm looking at here, and I'm not trying to be pessimistic, folks. We're in this jungle primary up here with a lot of candidates, and hey, by the way, I hope I see you guys. I will be at the forum tomorrow in Dalton, Georgia. I will be live streaming it as well. And I will also be moderating in some sort of way to help them out. There's going to be a lot of good people there. I think there's 13 candidates that are going to be there. So I'm looking really forward to that, right? Because even though the jungle primary is very uncomfortable, I was here during the time where Marjorie Taylor Greene broke that system, right? Of, hey, we got our next people set up in line and ready to go. And so this is a direct result of that, right? And I've listened to Marjorie's comments, what she said about a few of the candidates, and I hear her concerns. And I'm going to publicly say this right now. Marjorie, despite anything, we could talk about Marjorie all day long, about how she did what she did, and everything is sort of providential, right? But again, Marjorie was a great congresswoman, even if I didn't get to talk to her on the phone, or even if, I felt like she at the end, this is me talking, but it seems to me like she felt like she was surrounded by a den of vipers, even her own team, and probably so, because it's easy to stand behind Marjorie Taylor Greene and let her take all the arrows, right? But say what you will, she was out there speaking it, right, all the time. And I'll admit, Marjorie, to me, when she first started, it felt like bubblegum bills. It was like, well, you're still talking about impeaching Biden. Let's get real. They're not going to impeach him, Biden, right? Gulf of America, I'm happy about that. Her last bill was absolutely amazing, which I haven't even seen or heard any more about it, about the child trafficking. But she talks a lot of stuff that we've been talking about on the show for a long time. And we've been putting politics sort of in front of it. And I don't want to give her a complete pass. I wish she wouldn't have just left like she did, but she has her reasons for it. But again, this jungle primary, I like to see all these candidates. I've met some good candidates. There's already a couple candidates that has seen the light, and they're like, hey, I know what I need to do, and it's not for Congress. And that's exciting to me. It sure is a headache. I don't wish a jungle primary on anybody. I wish they would do away with it because it's nothing but nefarious. But that being said, I welcome all these because these are new people into the fold that are listening to what we're talking about. They're listening to what we're trying to do. All right. And those are people that in the future can help, right? Be more boots on the ground. And that's what I like about it. But the way it sits right now is that Democrats are poised in many, many places to take Republican positions. And it doesn't matter how red they are. It doesn't matter. And I'm not saying, obviously I don't want it, right? But I mean, we're being truthful here. And the Democrats are poised. We've already seen it in several races in this state. And why is it, right? Because, I mean, let's talk truth. The Republicans have been in charge for all of this time, and we are in the shape that we are in. How do you blame that on anybody but ourselves? You can't blame the Democrats for this. You have to take responsibility. And the legislative session I saw last year was one of the worst I've ever seen. And we've been under the thumbprint of Brian Kemp and the Rhino regime for longer than I've even been involved. Remember, this cat was Secretary of State. When I tell you it's a game, it is. These people have been positioned for a long, long time. And what you see happening in Atlanta is you see the Kemp regime trying to infiltrate every single race on a state level, okay? Now, mind you, I can't sit here and verify and say that Rick Jackson was that wild card. Maybe. I mean, if you want me to give you an educated guess, yes, I think Brian Kemp probably tapped Rick Jackson on the shoulder and said, come on and do it, right? There's no other reason. And Burt Jones, whatever you like Burt Jones, personally, I think Burt Jones is just a big old rich, overfed cornbread dude, right? I haven't seen the man do anything. Not since 2020. Now he's going to have to work, right? I'm not against you, Bert. You come on my show anytime. I mean, right now, I'm not afraid to say it. You have my vote, right? Because there's nobody else. But you're going to have to work for it. These little honky-tonk, rich clubs that you're going to, eventually you're going to have to come down to the people and talk to us. You keep avoiding Denise Sorkness and the voter George and election integrity. Eventually, this dude's going to make you work, man. This Rick Jackson's going to make you work. But again, maybe he just got tapped on the shoulder and said, hey, throw your hat in the race. You ain't got nothing to lose. And what do you think that might do? That could split the votes up on the Republican side and make way for a Democrat. Just like the jungle primary can make way for a Democrat. And you look at the lieutenant governors, you look at the secretary of states, you look at the attorney generals, you look at how insane is it in this state that Brad Raffensperger has not been kicked completely out of the Republican Party to begin with. Chris Carr is abhorrent. But these people are running for office, and now they're suing each other. They're suing each other over a leadership pact that should have never, ever, ever been voted on. But the good old boys said, yeah, man, we're going to get you that money. We're going to give it to you. We're going to give it to you. And now they're freaking out because so-and-so can make a $10 million loan to himself, and we've got more money than God. You idiots. You idiots. I digress. Again, all of these positions run risk of splitting votes. We'll see. The primary is up in May. We'll see, right? We're going to keep testing these candidates out and keep talking to them and keep their doors open and their ears on the ground. because that's what we're going to do. We want principled conservatives to lead in Republican ways. That's what we want. We're tired of this uniparty rhino bullcrap. We're tired of it because it's unsustainable. But again, and I'm fixing to shut up and go to comments. But man, I'm gonna tell you, and it's not just Georgia; it's everywhere. It looks right now. It looks like that the Democrats could take it. And here's what I say: why am I worried about Donald Trump and Scam Bondi and Cash Patel and all these people that have not delivered? Last year, we were all saying, hey, Trump, hey, team, codify this stuff. Put it into law where we can fix it. And it hasn't been done. We said, hey, we need some people arrested. We need some of this stuff stopped. And it hasn't been done. Election integrity. Do you realize that I read an article the other day, yesterday, day before, that John Thune says that he doesn't even know if they can do the filibuster because they may not have enough time to do the SAVE Act. A simple federal act that will require ID to vote. And we, supermajority, whatever you want to call it, we can't even get that done. I'm not saying it's not going to get done, but just to read these stupid articles and listen to John Thune say something like that in public, just basically signaling, hey, man, we're going to get the SAVE Act, right? The breadcrumbs that we get in Georgia, yes, paper ballots, yes, we want them, we want them. But guys, we still got to use the Dominion voting machines to count. We still got to slide them through the machine. We will. It's good. I'm not knocking it. It's a good thing, right? But we still got to use the same machine that's connected to Venezuela and connected to China and connected all over. You know what I was told, that Georgia is the only state in America, which I know that's true, that we are the only state that contracts Dominion throughout the entire state. But I've also been told that out of the 26 or 27 states that use Dominion, guess what? All of the Dominion activity comes into Georgia. So Georgia's the hub of Dominion, right? So it's not like the Georgia doesn't send their information to California or to Idaho. No. Every state that uses Dominion, guess what? It all feeds back into Georgia. The number one, the ground zero for Dominion. So, yeah, I'm a little pissed off. I'm a little upset. Like, we can't get nothing. We get the breadcrumbs all the time. And it sucks, man. We're looking at a hard 2027. And you know what's going to happen if the Democrats win? If the Democrats win, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to impeach Donald Trump. And this time, they're going to take everything that we've half but done, right? Oh, we tried to fix it over here. We didn't codify it. Oh, yeah, we got all this Somali fraud up in Minnesota, but Tim Walz is still the governor. He's just not going to run again, folks. We're going to let him loose because he's just not going to run again. And they're going to impeach Donald Trump. And when they do this time, guess what? They're going to go all the way through, and they're not going to make any mistakes, and then they're probably going to remove him. Now, hey, I'm not trying to be like a Debbie Downer here. I have to get this out of my system. But let's just look at our current reality, right? Our reality gets flipped. Like we cross over to dimension lines all the time. As far as I'm concerned, the way that this thing rolls, right? Roller coaster. So maybe this is not the case in a month. We can come back and revisit it. And I want somebody to come back and say, do you remember when you were running your mouth and you said that? And you were wrong. I want to be wrong. I'm not up here trying to tell you that I'm right. But mark my words, if the Democrats do take it, they're going to impeach the president. Because the president has not done enough to codify the federal government. Our Congress has not done enough to fix anything. No arrest, no codification. We still got major bills going through that are being Democrat bills, for that matter. And even the Epstein list, which I'm not going to cover tonight. I'm going to do a special about that. I'm going to do a situational awareness. I've decided to leave it out. But guess what? Even, was it Blanche came out and said, yeah, we took all the videos and the killing and the kids and all this, and we're not going to show that, but we're not going to prosecute anybody in these files. I mean, you've got files talking about pizza and grape soda, beef jerky being put on ice, frozen. I don't know who freezes beef jerky. It's bad stuff, man. All across the board. A lot of people, a lot of nasty, vile people. But again, nothing's going to happen. In fact, Thomas Massie and Pam Bondi went at it today up on Capitol Hill. And it's, like I said, give me something to believe in. Give me something to believe in, right? We're 2 months into this year. All I wanted was one. Just one. Just give me something, right? If you're going to go get 700 boxes, I want you to come back out with 700 boxes, right? If you're going to prosecute somebody, make sure it's in the right county. You know, if you're gonna take somebody and indict them, will you just please make sure that you don't do something stupid with the grand jury that some judge can say, so. Sorry, we're dropping it. You guys did something stupid. Can we just have just one thing that we can do right, that we can have a victory on? Because I don't know where this FBI case in Fulton County is going, because guess what? Brad Raffensperger going federal lawsuit. He ain't going to give nothing. These people are already gearing up with their stupid lawsuits. And we're finding out about, like I said, Pitts was warned ahead of time. Oh, they're going to raid. Boxes are missing. It's like, where do we go from here? It's just is this all that it's going to be? And we're a little bit into February. We got a bunch of crap coming up between now and the jungle and the primary and the this and the that. And it's like, are we going to be able to do anything? This time is running out here, man. That's all. Time's running out, y'all. And yeah, it's funky. So am I right? Am I wrong? And I hope if anybody did try to make a call, I hope I didn't miss anybody's call. But I always like to keep the phone lines open for you guys. But we'll go to comments. All right. Wow, got a good little crowd here tonight. Thank you guys for being here. Just listen to me run my mouth. It feels good. It's a little cathartic to run my mouth every now and then. I used to do this quite a bit. I love having guests on. I hope everybody watched Dr. Sherry Jackson. I just want to say that I said it in a post, but like, if you've never watched Aaron Russo's Freedom to Fascism, it was one of the first documentaries that was ever shared with me on a CD-ROM. Like, man, you got to check this out, dude. Did you know that the Federal Reserve is not even federal, man? Like, it's not. It don't have nothing to do with the government. And I'm scratching my head going, what? And I watched this documentary, and it that was part of my like change, like the veil lifted. About taxes, about RFID chips. They even mentioned Real ID, man, back in like the early 2000s. They were talking about Real ID back then. Okay? Of course, Aaron Russo, I think, passed away a couple years after this was made. But Dr. Jackson, whom I didn't know till I had on the show the other night, was one of the original IRS agents that fought against and did prison time for 3 years. And that was like me, you know, that was like me interviewing a movie star, because she has no idea, but those people have stuck with me in my head for years. That's where I started finding out about Ron Paul and the Federal Reserve, and like how our money's fiat currency. And it was an eye opener. And I went back and watched it the other night, and I was still blown away. I was like, this is still holds the test of time. But I hope you guys watched that episode. I thought that was really great. So, and you want to talk about us fighting, but she did 3 years in prison for all the work that she's done. So, amazing. All right, so we're going to go to comments. Carol Streeter, thank you for being here. Lisa Adams, good to see you. Christina Benjamin, pray for David Clark. Absolutely. David Clark reached out to me last week, said, hey, I want to come on your show. I said, okay, man. Sure, I'd love it. I want to interview as many candidates as I can. And we lost contact for a few days, and then he texted back and said, hey, we're good. Let's do it. I said, okay, and I didn't hear from him today, which it's been a pretty crazy day for myself and my father. We got a lot of people in the hospital right now, and we're having to do a few extra things. And so he did text about 6 o'clock, said, hey, can we move it to next week? I said, sure. So we are praying for you, Mr. Clark. And always good to have you with us, Christina Benjamin. Terrence Fowler, good to see you. And Terrence says, definitely need to get on. Shoot me a message, Terrence. We'll talk. There's several people out there. I'm so sorry I haven't called you. The weekend was crazy. But Antonio Jones, good to see you. Antonio's kind of my punching bag. Sometimes when I'm like in my real bad funk, and he's got to listen to me like doom and gloom it, right? So I appreciate Antonio. And Antonio's going to be there tomorrow at the forum as well. So that'll be awesome. But he had a killer show today on War Room, guys. Killer show on War Room today. Had Dozal, Greg Dozal was on there. Denise Sortness. My God, what a story. We got to get Denise Sortness on the show. She's got just good stuff, people. Anyway, y'all all need to check out War Room all the time. Denise Penleowen, good to see you, Denise. Thank you for being here. Good patriots out there. Christina Benjamin, she says, bringing you a legislation update. Heard from Dr. Nelva Lee for Superintendent of Schools at Wayne County, Georgia, Republican Party today. And she introduced us to Bill HB 133, which guarantees the ability of all students throughout the state to have the option to participate in released time religious instruction. An example of which is LifeWise, which has proven track record of success. Dr. Lee explained the success of this program in improving the mental, behavioral, and spiritual health of the children. That's what we need, folks. Absolutely. That sounds like a wonderful bill. I'm sure most of you are aware of the recent shooting in Canada, which was absolutely horrible. And we've got a huge mental health problem, and it's on all sides. But you know, these liberal ethos, the brain rot, right? The mental disorders they get in their head, and the pharmaceuticals that they take, and the kind of lifestyles they live, it really causes these people to go nuts. And I pray for that. But that sounds like a great bill, and thank you for the update on that. And by the way, Christina, man, she's watching these bills like ain't nobody's business, so we appreciate that. Good to see you, Christopher Rayleigh. Always a pleasure. Noreen Canner, one of my heroes. Noreen, she's got a podcast too. You need to check it out. And he said David Clark lied to my face. You're not the first person that's told me that. So I've been doing a little bit of research on Clark. You know, voting record to me is, but you know, there's been a couple of bills. I heard he got a bill inside Die last year that was really good. And then, you know, supposedly we were working on some good stuff today. And, you know, we'll bring him on the show, you know, and let him talk. But, you know, I just continue to pray. I hope everything's good with his family. So, Orrin Wayne, good to see Orrin. I'm trying to get through reading his book. So far, it's wonderful. And we're going to be bringing Orrin onto the show. I had to take a little bit of a hiatus from reading it when I originally wanted to, because we are extremely busy over here. But I am almost finished with it, and I can't wait to bring that to you. So, Beth Dunn, good to have you. She says, anyone have more signs removed from your yard? Yes. Even my mother. My mother had more signs. So I've seen primarily Greg Dozal's signs and Colton Moore signs being removed. I haven't seen many of anybody else's, but I do know that certain kids, you know, teenagers get paid to remove signs, and that's been going on for a long, long time. And of course, I could never prove it, but you know, usually they get about $10 a sign if they're out on a Saturday night and they decide to chuck a few signs, and then they go get paid. And what was even worse in my mother's house, she had a couple signs out there, and they just pulled them straight up off the stands and left the stands. So, you know, it's definitely happening, and it's happening everywhere. And that's just, well, I mean, you know, look at the people that you're, you know, a lot of these people don't have morals and values. A lot of the people that support certain candidates and something, they don't show up. They're not part of the fight. They're, you know, we have a huge web of Dixie Mafia conglomerates all over this place, and they love their little power structures, and they love their little, you know, they want to keep it all to themselves. They could care less about the common man or you or me, and they could care less about the stupid bills. All they want is the money and the power, and they want to make, you know, rub the feet of their masters. And so, you know, it gets ugly, right? Like I said, Even I feel it. I'd love to just go up and kick one of the Republicans for short hair slide, which is it's a lie anyway. I mean, it's just some stupid marketing thing that they came up with. But I can't bring myself to touch one. But that's me, and I have some morals, while they go sit on the church pew and say Jesus is king, and they'll send people out to steal yard signs in the name of Jesus and for $10 a pop. So, Christopher Rayleigh said, Bondi got blown out of the water. Yeah, I really, really struggled with what I was going to do tonight because I got so much to say on the Epstein list. And I problem is I'm already unhinged as it is. If I go into the Epstein list, like I'll go hard. And Pam Bondi is Scam Bondi, and it's been Scam Bondi from the beginning. You're not going to change my mind on this. She needs to go. She has done nothing since she took office, and she's done exactly what she was supposed to do, is nothing. And I'll even give you a little bit of credit. I almost wish that Massie would have let her finish her statement before moving on, but I understand it was his time. But there's nothing that she could have said to anything that Massie was presenting to her. So I want to leave it at that. But yeah, it was embarrassing. And then all she tensed up and said, she said that he had Trump derangement syndrome and called him a hypocrite. And I was like, oh my God, you actually said Trump derangement syndrome. Oh my God. It's comical. Pizzagate, Ben Swan. Pizzagate. Guess what, guys? If you don't know what Pizzagate is, maybe that's a good thing, but Pizzagate's real, and the Epstein files prove it. So, yeah, it's real. The Podesta files, Julian Assange, WikiLeaks, Spirit Cooking, the hot dogs, the pizza, it's all real. And it's all been vindicated, and you can look at it or you can pretend like it doesn't exist. John Podesta is an evil, evil person. Marina Abramovich is straight out of hell. And these people are nasty, sadistical people, and they're in high positions of power, and they have been. And God help us if we ever got the Podesta laptop out there. But yeah, Pizzagate's real, folks. And you can believe it or you can go soak your head in the sand, but it's real and it always was real. Don't get me started, Christopher. That's a soft spot. And a lot of people can't handle that. A lot of people in politics, they just want to believe that everything's hunky-dory and no. We don't talk about that. But I'm telling you, it's real. And sad. Kash Patel withheld Epstein files. I mean, Kash Patel completely lied. He lied about everything. So, I mean, he lied. He lied under oath. He lied under oath to everybody. Like I said, where's the dream team at, right? Am I supposed to just be quiet about it because this is Trump's FBI? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But whenever I'm being quiet about it, right, trying to focus on jungle primaries, somebody else walks up to me and says, man, no, y'all are all feeling it out there. And just because I'm going to say it live, I'm saying it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. He said Bondi had to write Cash to give the DOJ all the files. Yeah, that came out in the files as well. Don't get me started on that. Open borders have allowed terrorists and cartels to get entrenched in our country. That's exactly right. Replacement migration, the Communist Manifesto, rules for radicals, you name it, socialism here and alive and well. And even the Biden administration was probably part of this fifth generational warfare to get us just in this bad of shape, just in here, so that we, the people, would end up accepting things under this administration that we would never accept under another administration. It's just the truth, folks. We're turning blind eyes. We're accepting some things that we would never, ever accept under somebody else. Judicial Watch has dropped an investigation into the terror cells in El Dorado, Texas. And, a friend of mine last night said, why didn't they send ICE over into Colorado where the drug cartels took over these apartment complexes? Remember that? Remember that when the drug cartels were going through and taking over? Why? Or do we have ICE out there? Like, why are they in Minnesota right now? Why aren't we hitting that? I haven't seen anything on that. I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm obviously I believe in ICE, and if you're illegal is illegal, no matter which way you put it. I don't care if you're a criminal or not. But you can question like why we're doing certain things we're doing, and now of course we're backing out of there, right? We did. That's another thing. We're backing out. We're backing out. But I hope that if anybody has an article out there showing where ICE did go and take all those drug cartels out in Colorado that were like taking over apartment complexes, I would really love to see that. Marty Brown from Georgia, had a good conversation with Marty Brown last night. He will be on the show in the future, folks. Marty Brown said there's a huge announcement coming at the candidate forum in Dalton tomorrow. Everybody tune in. If not attending, we are going to light a fire in the Patriot base for the upcoming elections. Well said, Mr. Marty Brown. And excited about it. I didn't heard anybody, nobody said anything bad about Marty Brown. I like Marty. All right. Christopher Rayleigh says it's all part of the globalist agenda put into Palau with COVID. Absolutely. You can say that these things are conspiracy theories. COVID was actually, the Event 201. It was actually part of the white papers. They actually went ahead and put out COVID early because guess what? They had to, because they had to stop Donald Trump in the presidency and the uprising of the Patriot movement. And so COVID actually came a couple of years earlier than it was supposed to. But trust me when I say there's a timeline and people are working diligently on creating and making sure that timeline is done. So hang on one second, guys. I'm multitasking here, but boom. All right, so we got a bunch of comments here. So Christopher's always got some good stuff on here. Georgia GOP has been strangled into submission. Well, I mean, we knew this was going to happen, right? I mean, we tried to do something about this at the convention last year. We was like, hey, the GOP is becoming irrelevant. It's not doing anything. They're not engaged in anything. We need to fix this. We need to put some new blood in here. And these people say that they're going to do this a completely different way. And what do? We got slapped down like the redheaded stepchild, and the GOP is largely done nothing. And I know a lot of the district GOPs that are struggling because they're not getting any help and backup. So, yeah, we knew this was going to happen. We tried to tell them, Let's see here. Jasper, man, it's good to see you. Says, I agree. I've been focused on what I can change. Yep, the serenity prayer. You got to accept in what you can. And again, this is my night to vent. So, hand marked paper ballots. This ends the Democrat theft. You know what, Chris? It doesn't end the Democrat theft. What we want to do is we want to end all theft of votes. I don't care. I don't care if a Democrat gets elected. What I want free, fair, transparent elections. I want elections that can be audited with a drop of a hat, and I want them done right. If a Democrat gets voted in, so be it. I don't care. It is the Democrat theft, but it's also the Democrat theft under Republican leadership in the shape that we're in. So you got to understand that. Republicans have been in charge this whole time. We could have fixed this anytime we wanted to. Okay? Who's to blame here? The Democrats or the Republicans? And Jasper says we have too many egos in the race for the 14th. That's always going to be the case. Yes. Hardy, good to see you. And, you're probably right, Chris. Democrats can't win without cheating. Well, we do gerrymandering, we do redistricting, do all these things, and then we have jungle primaries, all of these things. They always seem to help one side more than the other. We just want to put it back into the middle, right? Close your primaries, no more jungle primaries, and then hand-counted paper ballots counted at the precinct level where the people can look at them and audit them and everything's good. Yes, people can cheat with paper ballots too, but it's a whole lot easier. And I guarantee you don't want artificial intelligence doing your elections, folks. You do not want artificial intelligence doing your elections, and that's where it's headed. All right. Christine says, I want to check out what Matt Day is doing in Southeast Georgia, helping us fight the forces behind data centers and solar farms in our rural communities. Amen to that. I'll come back to that later. Yes. Vortex Eagle Patriot, good evening. Good evening to you, sir. Appreciate you. Guys, you need to check out Peaches and Bananas podcast. Twilight Zone, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Marionette Collier, good to see you tonight. David Cross says snap out of it. Thanks, David. But I'm trying to. I'm not anywhere. I'm just laying it out, folks. I want to be wrong. I'm in a funk. I do need to snap out of it. Vortex says no Lindsey Graham, no BB evil people. We don't want any evil people. So, and let's see. Jasper says, Roy, by the way, we do it is unite better than them. We have events and area politicians just talking. We have to show the people we're willing to engage. Race is a business called grievances industry making millions annually. Absolutely, it is. Thomas White, good to have you tonight. Because he says no. You're talking about Massie. Yeah, you know how I feel about Massie. So, if we all went Tea Party on their blank, it would all change. Well, yeah, you're right about that. And it may end up coming down to that. I don't know. We always say that. But again, we don't even have to go that route. If we just had Republicans going by Republican principle and doing what was supposed to be done, but instead we've corporatized this thing and we've made it where it's a uniparty and everybody gets a piece of the pie and they all laugh behind closed doors at us because they're all getting rich. We wouldn't even have to do that. So, all right, guys, I'm going to have to get off of here. Let's see. Man, okay, honestly, our government acts like a bunch of spoiled brats. Why can't we just be at peace and be for the United States citizens and take care of each other? Just saying, right? Absolutely. A lot of good comments. Good to see you, Gail Royale. And let's see here. Michael Proctor, good to see. Data centers will be outdated by the time they're built. Yeah, of course. All right, so we got some good conversations going on in the comments, so we'll go back and check out those comments. I do have to get off here. I'm going to just go back. I'm going to go on down. Calvin Purchase, good to see you tonight. On a positive note, the people of Bryan County successfully ran of a proposed nickel refinery. Zero reason for that toxic stuff to be anywhere near that many people and pristine coastal waterways. Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's see here. Michael Jennings, good to see you tonight. Yeah, I've got business coming up. Tracy Tomlin, good to see you tonight. Thank you. Sharon Seconder, good to see you. And I hope it doesn't happen either. Maybe just talking about it. You know, I'm an InfoWars junkie. They talk about the worst stuff all the time, and you talk it in, and maybe we all get on the same page. Because I'm not up here saying this because like everybody is talking to me behind the scenes about this, guys. It's all the unspoken truth out here, and we've all been trying to suppress it because we've got the jungle primary and we've got all these things coming up, and nobody is out here. We're not against Donald Trump. I know, of course, Donald's the greatest president of my life, but like we can't just turn a blind eye. You know, it's the same thing as if it was a Democrat. You don't believe your lying eyes. Like we're looking at all this stuff and listening to what these people are saying, and it's like I can't ignore that. So everybody that's coming to me and saying it, and I'm like, yeah, I realize that there's a lot of people that are feeling this way. So maybe talking it out will get it better. So, and yes, I agree with David Cross. I need to snap out of it. So you're not wrong, David. All right, guys. Oh, there's Charles Stoker. When are we going to have David Cross? I have David Cross on the show any day of the week. We need to get David back on the show. We need to get T-Mott back on the show. We need to get a bunch of people back on the show. So Blake Ellsbury is running for state senate. Hey, Blake, he says there are numerous bad bills voters need to be aware of, including HB 211, HB 601, HB 64. So absolutely. Let's see, guys. All right, I'm getting down to the Scam Bondi. See, we're in agreement here. Scam Bondi, yeah. And nothing does work when you use Pam. It's magically, there's always something wrong with it. So, man, there's some good comments. All right, guys. Jonathan Stout, my brother from another mother. Good to see you, sir. Let's see here. Brian Way Casey. Both parties are completely corrupted. They are. That's what we fight against, Brian. That's what we fight against. We've got people that are fighting against this. It's very hard. It's very hard, but they're both corrupt. Yes, sir. I will get you back on the show. All right. All right, guys. Look, I got to go. I got some work that's got to be done. But again, I appreciate you guys listening to me, hanging out with me. I didn't expect that crowd tonight. I appreciate it. You guys are wonderful. And just stay tuned. We got more stuff planned down the pipeline, and we ain't going nowhere. We're going to continue to stay in the fight, continue to move forward, and hopefully maybe we can get some attention to some of these people. It's like, oh crap, man, we're screwing up, you know. Slap them in the back of the head. Say, what the heck are you doing, people? We need that SAVE Act. All right, we need it. That's common sense. We need good bills passed. We need bills like HB 211 to go into the gutter, into the trash can. HB 1212. Anyway, thank you all for hanging out. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you to all the patriots out there. And hopefully I'll see a bunch of you guys tomorrow night at the Dalton Forum. I'm super excited about it. And we're out. Y'all have a good evening.
Legislature legalized unverifiable voting in 2000.
Like you said to Trump, but they're getting beauty.
They said, go out there and rob these houses and bring back the bounty, and then that'll pay your way.
Because Republicans who get endorsement from Georgia areas that they mean anything.
You can't sit on the sidelines any longer. You must get involved in the game. This is your sign.